I do believe that the macro supports this in terms of the growth in the US. I mean, there's no way you can look at this at these metrics and say that this is recessionary. There's absolutely no way. This is not what you see going into a recession. You can always point to weak points in the market in the economy, and there are. I mean, housing is starting to soften, industrial production. I mean, this was noticeable. Real disposable personal income is continues to decelerate to 1%. But then you start looking at employment. I mean, employment is nowhere near recessionary. I know people like to throw out certain data points to back their narrative. You just got to be real careful of that. But I think the one that came up recently, I can't remember which specific metric it was that everyone was saying, oh, this is the largest increase in its history in employment. But that metric specifically is not a good leading indicator if you look back in history. So employment is not only still pretty strong, but it has room to get stronger. Like, that's what's important to understand. We're not maxed out in employment right now. So there is room to get better. You just got to keep that in mind. What will be the pull forward, in my opinion, is inflation. Now, CPI, I've talked about this for many, many months, continues to decelerate on a 3-month annualized basis. The trend is down. The trend is noticeably down, but it's not because of core inflation. Core inflation has been around 5% through this entire deceleration. I just got down to 4, then 3, which is really impressive. I don't think that's going to be the case with consumer sentiment this strong. You usually don't see consumer feeling this good about the economy and then they pull back on spending. So I don't see core inflation continuing to decelerate. What has been the cause of the inflation, the disinflation we're seeing, has been energy, 100%. Even food has contributed. It's worth noting food has reaccelerated for the first time since August of 2022. That's worth noting. So I don't think you're going to get help from food going forward, but energy is basically the reason why we've seen such incredible disinflation. Everyone thinks that, like, the economy is just, or inflation just magically going down. If you study market history, that does not happen. Inflation does not just magically go down once that genie is let out of the bottle. I've never found an instance going back to the 40s where core inflation, when it gets out of hand, just goes back down without a recession. Every single time, 100% of the time, a recession is what's needed to get core inflation back under control. So energy is what everyone's focusing on right now.